Stocks tumble on Thursday, pushing the S&P 500 into a 10% correction. Hey everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. While they're speaking about this news, it's pretty hard to ignore. So let's take a look at all the markets and see what they're all doing, but the S&P 500 is in a 10% correction now. And here we have Dow Jones down, S&P, they're all down. And if we look at crypto, everything is down, including Bitcoin down by another 2,100 bucks today so far. Gold and silver both up. Copper as well. All the precious metals are going up. In fact, gold is, as it says here, scale is record high, sprints toward a $3,000 milestone. It's $3 away right now. And silver's creeping up as well. So, yeah, markets are going crazy today. Not only that, but we have this story. Fortress America. Trump is preparing for a global financial collapse. European capital controls are being implemented right now, meaning they're going to limit the outflow of capital from Europe because people are getting their money out of Europe, as you'll see here in a second. So every once in a while, a caller to the Hal Turner radio show brings an absolute gem of information to the audience. And last night, Billy Boy from Florida did exactly that. He talks about Trump needing to erect Fortress America for the coming global financial collapse. He also shocked nearly everyone when he revealed that some $10 trillion has come out of the European Union over the past few months, and that no country, no continent can afford that kind of capital removal. So therefore, capital controls are supposedly going to be implemented in the European Union, perhaps as early as April 7th. I would bet it'd be earlier, but we'll go with April 7th for now. Below, you can hear that 5-minute call as it would broadcast live on the radio last night. Given the information revealed, readers are urged to plan accordingly. So update today at 2:01 p.m. Eastern. The word about 10 trillion leaving Europe is apparently spawned by the announcement 2 days ago saying that the European Commission has determined that there are 10 trillion euros sitting dormant in savings accounts, and that the EU is going to mobilize that money to feed the European military-industrial complex to rearm Europe. Wow. So they're just going to flat out steal everybody's money in Europe that has any money in any bank accounts and use it to fund their wars. And the citizens don't get any choice. So here's the headline: European Commission to use 10 trillion euros of citizen savings for EU defense. The European Commission estimates that the total level of unused savings of EU citizens at 10 trillion euros, and it intends to find ways to mobilize that money to finance its plans to militarize Europe and support the European military-industrial complex, according to a statement by the European Commissioner for Financial Services and the Savings and Investment Union, Maria Louise Albuquerque, distributed by the European Commission Press Service, TASS reports. So, if the European Union grabs that savings account money and issues maybe a sort of IOU to the account holders, there's no telling when or if they'll get any of their money back. You won't. You just won't. That's the bottom line. Most thinking people understand this. It's also possible that Europe will implement capital controls just before they actually do this, so as to prevent people from getting their money out. And yeah, that would make sense. People in Europe would be left destitute by an action like this, and we are in the tribulation after all. So it's now logical that they're pulling the money out as fast as they can and getting it outside the EU, and who can blame them? So that's another financial crisis that's looming. And then we have this. Major bank with thousands of locations sparks fears after abruptly closing 38 branches. America's seventh biggest bank will shut 38 branches as it continues to roil from massive penalties related to failures in its anti-money laundering controls. Yeah, they laundered billions of dollars of money for drug dealers, essentially. And they got a $3.2 billion fine, as you can see right here, which is a drop in the bucket compared to the profits that they made from laundering said money. I guarantee it. Or they wouldn't do it. If there's no profit in it, they wouldn't take the chance. So you have a major bank, TD Bank, seventh largest in the U.S., getting ready to close a whole bunch more of its branches. Wow. Everything's happening at once, guys. Everything's happening at once. Now, moving from the financial theater to the theater of war. At 11:50 a.m., oh, that's the latest update, the U.S. delegation is headed to Moscow for Ukraine's ceasefire offer. Well, Russia's already come out and said know. But anyway, the plane carrying Trump's special envoy Witkoff, which took off from Qatar this morning, crossed the Russian border, according to flight radar data. The White House reported that Witkoff would visit Moscow to persuade the Russian side to sign a ceasefire agreement in Ukraine. Yesterday, Russian President Putin surprisingly visited the Russian command in Kursk. For the first time, he wore a military uniform, more precisely, a Russian camouflage uniform. In all the years he's been president, this is the first time he's ever done that, and it has been noticed. The question raised by Putin wearing a uniform is, what message is he sending and to whom? Well, I happen to have an answer for that as well. Over here at Substack from Alexander Dugin, where he writes about 4 or 5 more reasons for peace. And right away, he tells us Putin's reason for doing this. Putin's appearance in Kursk in military uniform and his meeting with General Gerasimov, the chief of the general staff, right on the front line demonstrates Russia's absolute determination to achieve the goals of the special military operation without any compromises. This is a sign of resolve, willpower, focus, and determination. At the same time, it underscores Russia's successes in liberating the Kursk region. Moreover, Putin made it clear that this liberation is not the final step, that a buffer zone will be created, which may extend into the Sumy region and as far as our understanding of national interest requires. Perhaps the entire Sumy region, or perhaps an even larger territory. Yeah, like all of Ukraine. That's eventually what's going to happen. I showed you guys that map here a few days ago in my previous video before this one, showing you that there's, the 10 kingdoms, and Russia and Ukraine are in one kingdom. So Russia's going to swallow up Ukraine at some point as this worldwide Armageddon continues. So he talks about the North Army, which was gradually deployed into the Kursk region and so on. I'll let you read the rest on your own. I'll put the links up like I always do. But this wearing of the uniform comes a day after the U.S. delegation meeting with Ukraine and Saudi Arabia came up with a proposal to have a 30-day ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia's already indicated this is completely unacceptable. It would only give Ukraine time to regroup and rearm. Moreover, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio made a remark that if the Russians reject the ceasefire, then we know their intention is not peace. That was a bad thing to say because it has been known for at least 2 years the Russians have a very specific set of terms to end the conflict. And here they are. And spelled out here, and as well here over on Telegram. But we'll just stick on Hal's website here. They say that Ukraine cannot join NATO or any other military bloc. Ukraine must also agree that the territories now added to Russia from the conflict are Russian forever, and no deployment of foreign troops on Ukrainian territory for any reason. And of course, that's what they want to do. They want to put so-called NATO peacekeepers in Ukraine. But Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova confirmed today that Moscow has closely examined the results of the U.S.-Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia, but has yet to receive any formal ceasefire proposal. She said that we have reviewed the statements and the outcomes, but no official document has been presented to us. However, we're open to discussions with U.S. representatives, and this could happen soon. Now, the update today at 11:50 a.m., Russian President Putin's top foreign policy aide said this morning he told Washington that a 30-day ceasefire proposed by the United States to pause the war in Ukraine would simply give Kiev's forces a much-needed battlefield respite. Mr. Trump's Middle East Special Envoy, Steve Witkoff, arrived in Moscow March 13th for talks. Mr. Yuri Ushakov, a former ambassador to Washington who speaks for Mr. Putin on major foreign policy issues, told Russian media that he had spoken to Mr. Waltz on March 12th to outline Russia's position on the ceasefire. I stated our position that this is nothing other than a temporary respite for the Ukrainian military, nothing more. And he said it gives us nothing. It only gives the Ukrainians an opportunity to regroup, gain strength, and to continue the same thing. And that's exactly what it's for. Mr. Yushakov said Moscow's goal was a long-term peaceful settlement that takes into the account the legitimate interests of our country and our well-known concerns. It seems to me that no one needs any steps that merely imitate peaceful actions in the situation. And there we go. And of course, Russia's official response says that no, all these other conditions have to be met, including Ukraine not joining NATO, no foreign troops in Ukraine, and so on. And now we have this from Trumpet News. China, Russia, and Iran are going to hold a meeting in Beijing to discuss Iran's nuclear program on March 14th the day of the blood moon on Purim. So, guys, keep your head on the swivel. Keep your eyes to the skies. Jesus Christ is returning soon. Our redemption draws nigh, indeed. All right, that's it for now. Don't forget, in case you're not watching the video here, don'tspeaknews.com is home base for everything that I do. I put everything over here that we can't speak about anywhere else. I put up a couple new ones this morning about the tribulation, about the guillotines, and everything that's happening now and is about to happen. Special guest author. Also, Trump and the Golden Dyson Sphere, which I found on Telegram today. A really good explanation of that. And many, many more stories that we can't speak about anywhere else but here on the website at don'tspeaknews.com. If you'd like to support us, as we are listener supported only, there's a channel support button here. Just click on that. And all the links to support us are right there. And we sincerely appreciate it. Without you guys, we don't stick around. And then if you want to subscribe to the website, every time I put up a new story, you'll be notified. Just click on that tab, type in your email, click subscribe, and you're in. This box is also at the bottom of every article that I post. And then here are the 2 email addresses for sending me stuff. And that is it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.